we can go ahead and go down to the table so we can see, so you can see who we're featuring this round. We have Raja Sulaiman, Kyle Boggemes, and Zach Allen on the left. And on the right, we have Matt Hoey, Will Krueger, and Joe Bernal. So those are names that are probably familiar to a lot of you, especially if you're in the Midwest area. The names on the right, Hoey, Krueger, and Bernal. Hoey won the Underrated Championship twice. He's playing limited, so maybe we'll get to that later. But we're going to be starting this time with Zach Allen and Joe Bernal, Jeskai Mentor versus Izzet Delver. So we'll see Izzet Delver again, which we saw a little bit of briefly getting pretty well crushed by Stoneforge Mystic last round. We'll see if he can do a little bit better against Jeskai Mentor, which is going to be, well, based on the, I don't have deck lists in front of me, but this is going to be potentially a more controlling deck with Monastery Mentor trying to spit out a lot of tokens, just overwhelm the board.
Mentor is an interesting strategy to adopt. I suppose that it gumming up the ground is good against Ragavan strategies, but there's a lot of flyers right now in Legacy, so I'm interested to see what the approach is. Yeah, if you can get ahead, you can leverage the Mentor pretty well.
Mm-hmm. All right, so see the players drawing up their hands. There is going to be a lot of removal, though, as you're going to want cheap spells to enable the Mentor, and certainly removal qualifies for that. And we see Joe Bernal with Izzet Delver. That's a more people familiar with Legacy can probably blindly guess, 58 or 59 cards out of a Izzet Delver deck. But Jeskai Mentor may have some more options, or we'll see. We'll see what Zach Allen's got here.
Yeah, I saw an eclectic mix of cards there: lands, dress down, swords to plowshares. It looks like we're just going to start off with a Dragon Rage Channeler. I like that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Good for all formats. And we do see Dragon Rage Channeler for Joe Bernal.
It's like Zach has his mana set up, and he's going to... Looks like he might wait for that Swords to Plowshares player and be able to pay for days is his approach here.
Sure, that's possible.
Could get him here, though.
Yeah. So Zach Allen, a player who's had... fairly prominent role in the SCG Tour over the last few years, and Kyle Boggemes has been on the Grand Prix and Pro Tour circuit for a number of years, although maybe not as much recently, as that has kind of died down a little bit. So definitely a lot of accomplishments on both sides of this match.
Man, winning the die roll is brutal for... Yeah, you can see, not even wanting to go for it. It only has the one removal spell, wants to make sure it sticks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, unlike Ragavan, another creature that would be in Bernal's deck, Zach Allen is going to be willing to take a couple hits from Dragon Rage Channeler. This is, taking 1 point a turn. I mean, it's not even at 3 yet, and this is just something that you can shrug off a little bit.
Yeah, the concern is that it's going to fix Joe Bernal's draw, not so much that it's going to kill Zach Allen.
Yeah. All right, so... Zach Allen does find a second land, which Bernal did not. So the Wasteland was his second land, and without a third or a virtual second, this is you can see there's a lightning bolt. There's a gust shot.
The gust shot I think is a good candidate to go face here, just to set up this second land, especially with that expressive iteration in hand. It gets a lot more valuable too. That can find your third land.
Right.
And I don't know what the decklist situation here is, but I'm not waiting to see if there's a Ragavan coming out. Just gut shot to scry, I think, is the line.
Right. I mean, Bernal needs land here. It looks like
the expressive iteration can recoup some of the card disadvantage.
Yeah. So figuring his volcanic line a little bit as if he's considering a daze, but it is going to be a daze.
No,
so daze to...
Deciding what to pitch here.
Right, okay.
All right, don't touch that. No, come on. Don't do that one. No. No, okay. No. Put that expressive iteration back in your head. That's illegal. You can't pitch that one. No, it looks like that was it. All right. Looks like he has a lot of faith in the Murktide. I guess the Murktide region is close to being online.
It's not going to be huge today. Okay, we see a
We're gonna
force
have a
back,
fight.
and both players not doing a great job of showing us what their exile cards are. So maybe we can have the table spotter get them to put those exile zones somewhere where we can see them as we are fighting over this Swords of Plowshares on the Dragon Rage Channeler. Lightning Bolt still on the stack.
What's Bernal's third card? It's Gutshot, Murktide, and Ponder? Brainstorm?
By the time this Swords of Plowshares resolves, Joe Bernal might actually have Delirium and gain a couple extra life points. Not that that matters very much, but all this stuff is currently on the stack.
He's surveilled to the top with the trigger from the Force of Will, so might be looking to just untap and deploy Murktide Regent as a 5/5.
Oh, we're coming with
Oh
another
no,
force.
yeah,
All right,
and its
so
last
that's
card. It looks like that creature was pitched, so he no longer
Yeah.
has Murktide available.
okay. So the Dragon Channeler will survive.
Ditches the land this time, changes his mind.
Okay. Well, I guess now that he has no spells left, he doesn't need the land to be able to cast them. And there we go. So everything actually resolves.
Still short of sorcery. Or a creature
Right.
for that matter.
No, yeah, you're right.
This line is.
Okay. All right.
And
So,
the
yeah,
carry
let's go.
cap. All right.
The,
We're all in.
the idea of card advantage and having cards in hand, being able to threaten your opponent, that's a myth. Joe Bernal is all in. He does keep this.
Better be a Ponder.
Okay, it's a Brainstorm. Ponder would have been great because of Delirium, but Brainstorm is at least something. Another Surveil trigger.
All right. We're looking for. Okay, more burn is good now that we're all in, as well as being able to go land Dragon Rage Channeler.
Yeah, more sorceries would have been better. I don't think we got that. We did.
So, the thing about this scenario is that I don't think Zach Allen can punish. I don't think Zach Allen can punish Joe. He's just got a bunch of. He's got 3 lands and a Brainstorm.
Okay.
If he hits, that's great, but.
Yeah. Well, but he doesn't have to hit much in order for Bernal to be crippled here, as Bernal's done with 2 Force of Wills, has certainly limited his capabilities by quite a bit. And again, after all this, an attack for 1 damage.
Ponder being added to the grip certainly cuts Joe's outs here. Yeah, Zach's trying to trick us with all of these fancy cards, but I know that's a Brainstorm. You can't fool me.
Yeah, well, at Brainstorm found a Teferi Time Raveler, a Ponder, and maybe a Swords of Plowshares, which means that Zach Allen is probably going to be well on his way to taking down firm control of this game.
Yeah, you can tell I don't play too much Blue and Legacy when I say that one player doesn't have any gas in his hand is 3 lands Brainstorm.
All right, so Zach Allen and it's really still a 10 life. I mean, and facing 1 point a turn. I don't think we could emphasize enough how different this would be if Joe Bernal had managed to find Delirium. He would probably still be in a rough spot, but it would be looking more promising. And there is a Swords of Plowshares coming in to take down that Dragon Rage Channeler, and Bernal will only benefit 1 life as he somehow still doesn't have Delirium, despite having 8 or so cards in the graveyard.
Force the Will, Ball, Gutshot, 4 triggers, and
that'll do it.
No creatures or sorceries to be found.
Yeah.
Top cards are Bolt and Channeler, I believe. I don't believe you shuffled off that Ponder.
No, I don't think so either. And for you Legacy fans that are unfamiliar with the land that Zach Allen hasn't played, that's a Plateau. It taps red and white. It's one of the original dual lands, and yeah, it's just probably one of the least commonly played ones, but that is what that is.
I was looking at the price of Plateau yesterday because I saw a Green-White Depths list was splashing Pyroblast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I had 1, but the list called for 2. I'm not sure how I feel about that though.
That's a shame. Well, if you're in the market for Plateaus, No Rage Gaming Online might be able to satisfy your craving as a Teferi Time Raveler comes down. Joe Bernal, no interaction with that. Teferi ticks up.
Just gonna wait to see before he cashes in his card.
Sure. There's no threat to it here. Zach Allen has another brainstorm in hand, I believe.
Could even look for the 5th land for this Force of Will. He's protected from days because it's Teferi. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he's just going to go for the more aggressive line here. Just deploy the Narset.
Yeah, it's a
Joe doesn't have a lot of resources to work with, so I don't think leaving it with the Force of Will is necessary.
Narset finds expressive iteration. Joe Bernal has the legal right to play this game out as long as he wants, but I don't know that there's much chance of him coming back. Was that
Channeler,
a second?
maybe 2 channelers here.
Okay.
I might consider bolting the Narset though, just to act as a Raven's crime.
I thought about that
trade
too.
for 1 card.
Yeah, and it's not just a 1 random card either. It's an impulse for spells, which is bound to find something good. So we're gonna see second channeler.
Yeah,
will
try to be more. He can't even upkeep the bolt to try and find some action to use during his main phase because of Teferi. Yeah, he's worried the Spark Planeswalker is going to take over here. We got a Swords to Plowshares. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, gonna take the Swords to Plowshares. Not gonna go too greedy and try to expressively iterate so many times, but we're gonna go for the first one here. I assume. Yeah, we're gonna take up.
Yeah, and this Teferi might still be safe. I think that that's a prismatic ending. So actually, both of the channelers are going to go down. Actually, both can get exiled.
I don't know about deploying the iteration this way though. I might now that you've committed to this line, I would just untap and iterate.
Sure. Wasteland drawn for Joe Bernal, which could take out that fancy plateau, but Zach Allen with no shortage of mana and resources here. You can see Joe Bernal's teammate Will Krueger has lost game 1 of his match.
Declining to bolt there. Yeah, now we go for that. Even though Teferi gives it flash, I don't think it's good to you want to be able to use your iteration to hit a land drop.
Right, and we see there Wasteland is found off iteration, takes out half of Joe Bernal's resources, and here's a Ponder. Now this one, like you're saying, this one could have been held to cast on Bernal's turn. I'm not sure there's any real advantage to doing that.
The ability to hit a threat, maybe.
Yeah, and that's going to be it for game 1. Zach Allen takes it down. So we do see 1 game win on each side so far of round 2, and we shall see if we can jump to another game. Looks like we are in. This is Modern, and the players are sideboarding. So they're ready to, if we could potentially go over and see how Limited is looking for a moment.
Let's do it.
Check in there for the first time. Okay. So we have Matt Hoey on the right versus Raja Sulaiman. Black-white versus red-green. Black and red, probably the 2 best colors in the format if you haven't played much with it. So both decks with one of those colors ready to swing out here. And we have, not sure if those life totals are right or not. They very well may be. So let's see how things go here.
That's the Mana Werewolf, and then we have a red creature as well, and then we have Fleeting Spirit and some medium-sized black creatures here. Probably nothing that's going to be attacking through that Mana Werewolf, though. It's a 3/4. Oh, we'll speak too soon. Yeah, so we get some value here.
Okay, this is right. This is the Exploit Gargantua Zombie. It's 5/4 for 5 mana, and we have the Veil. It is nighttime, so that
it looks like
is the 3/4 mana creature.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I cut you off there.
Looks like the exploited creature was a Doomed Dissenter, and that's a nice little combo.
It is, and that is kind of you have with the Skeleton and Doomed Dissenter, you have some value with exploit creatures. It's less of a drawback than you would think. I don't know that it's a great advantage because I'm not sure the exploit cards are that strong, but it does give you some play to it.
Yeah, the most powerful one probably the Scorpion, but although that's an uncommon. Yeah, only ones. Yeah, if Hoey can flip this werewolves though, he needs a spell
Mm.
here. Oh, okay. Not
So
sure
we
what the
got
mana costs are though.
Weaver of Blossoms flipped over there. These names, this set is new enough that we're not real quick on the names yet. And then the fact that a lot of these names have two names, all these cards have two names, doesn't make it any easier.
It's the mana werewolf. It's fine. It's fine.
Right? No, it's Weaver of Blossoms is the front side,
Yeah, yeah.
and then that might be Weary Prisoner's backside as the other creature for Raja Sulaiman there.
The 2/6. Yes.
Yeah, the 2/6, and the backside, the nighttime side is the 6/6 that is forced to attack.
Well, yeah, I don't know if the fourth. Normally, you could take a hit on the chin, try to race, but like life totals are even if that. I don't know if you want to hit him with make that your plan.
All right, if the legacy match is ready to go, let's go ahead and take ourselves back as that 2/3 Death Touch creature that eats a card from a graveyard and potentially drains the opponent for 2 comes into play.
Diagram
Life
scavenger.
totals to 11-6. Okay, legacy players are still shuffling, so we'll go ahead and stay here for a moment.
This game looks close enough that it might be, yeah, one alpha swing. Sorry, it might be the doom of Raja here. Although it looks like he's got enough stuff going on. Yeah,
Well, that is
a good trade.
Yeah, the Weary Prisoner is forced to attack when it's flipped over, so it does trade with the Death Touch creature, which certainly reduces the board there for Raja.
You're deploying, yeah, not much on defense, although 3/4 is still large. Okay. 2 spells though. The second spell here, even though it is a powerful one, going to downgrade it back into Weaver of Blossoms. The black deck actually has a little bit more power and toughness here than the green-red deck, which is not what you normally see. Yeah, going for the alpha swing, yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to do it. All right, so Matt Hoey's going to take down that game, and let's go ahead and get us away from this limited stuff, which we don't do a lot of on NRG Gaming, which to our shame was probably very evident there, but we'll do better for you. As we move back to Legacy, and we have Bernal on the play this time without a 1-drop.
I suspect that Joe's reasoning in the last game for going all in with the double force of will play there was might have been colored by the expectation that Zach was playing a similar strategy and not had more of these grindy elements.
That's true. Well, certainly
he learned a lot of Delver mirrors. Yeah, learned the hard way for sure.
Right. All right, so we see a brainstorm here for Bernal. Does find a Ragavan and I believe a Pyroblast.
Dragon Rage Channeler as well, multiple expressive iterations. He's a lot to work with here. Force of Will is still in this deck. I don't mind the first copy drawn. It gets bad if you lose all your resources like you did last game, but
right. And a Wasteland, so this is a main phase brainstorm.
Failed to find a fetch land there, but I don't know if he minds too much as long as he has a Volcanic Island as well.
Well, this is where we were at last game with Volcanic and Wasteland, and it didn't end up working out too well. Zach Allen with a Ragavan of his own.
Joe Bernal's Ragavan might be on Mana Dork duty here. Be able to try and if he can hit and then cast the expressive iteration the next turn. That's a long way away though.
All right, so Ragavan comes in for Zach Allen, and Bernal is going to.
Well, yeah, Joe is lacking a burn.
He's going to fight over this. Yeah.
If I was Zach Allen, I'm not sure if I would pick a fight over this Ragavan. It is powerful, but you have cards like Narset and Teferi Time Ravel in your deck as well.
Well, he may actually consider this Ragavan. If Bernal is fighting over the Ragavan, that might imply he doesn't have removal for it. So Zach Allen might look at this Ragavan as a defensive measure against a potential Ragavan from Bernal, which he does actually have. And there's a Pyroblast on the Force of Will.
Well, if your card is Pyro, no, yeah.
And the battle is not over. Daze takes down the Ragavan. The coast is clear for Bernal here if he can find something to muster.
I think I would have just let the Ragavan go there, especially being vulnerable to days like that.
Hmm.
It always is tempting when your opponent is using a Force of Will. You know they really care about it because they're going down the card. But there are things like Murktide Regents that you have to be worried about. Although I suppose Zach is a white deck, so he's not quite as vulnerable to Murktide Regent.
Okay, so Ragavan, no dash, and then Wasteland on the plateau to cut off white mana from Zach Allen. Now let's see if that
finds a white land off the top, though.
Tundra came off the top there, so Swords of Plowshares is still alive and
undazable,
unanythingable. And Bernal, once again, doesn't have a lot going on. Has a lot of cards in hand this game as opposed to the last game, though.
He's gone through his brainstorm, though, so now he's drawing live cards again. Not going to respect one of these 3-mana War of the Spark Planeswalkers. Wants to get some pressure going. Instant land are the types. Once again, short.
Yeah, it's tough when you're. I mean, these decks can manage on low land counts, but not this low. And Swords of Plowshares takes it down, and Bernal just cannot keep anything on the board.
That's a fine exchange for you, though. Like, it's not like Teferi is a nightmare scenario, and now he's being able to start using these expressive iterations to get back into this game.
But Zach Allen is.
Ooh, Zach with the Pyroblast off the top, though, is going to cut off the expressive iteration.
Or at least the first one. Zach Allen with an iteration of his own, but clearly that's not the play.
Oh, God.
He played his land first, and we're just going to put down.
Mana?
I mean,
going to be
no matter what it is, it's bad for Bernal.
Well, he's got a Pyroblast, so if it's it's and that's just, yeah. Not Narset, not Teferi, just gets around everything here. And now instead of using, do you use expressive iteration and try to find the land plus removal spell, or do you use Brainstorm, which requires fewer outs but isn't as quite as impactful?
It's going to be iteration, and
yeah, and that's not going to have resolve.
Yeah, Zach Allen's going to pick this off and benefit with a token off the Red Elemental Blast, and these players showing off with all their Black Border dual lands here.
A couple legacy veterans, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you can believe that. And there is the first token for Monastery Mentor, the Monk token, and Joe Bernal with 21 life. And is that another? Oof. Yeah.
We had the same reaction there.
Yeah, same sentiment. I think it might have been another Mentor that was drawn, but here's the iteration to just get so far ahead. Another
you can see that
Ponder
he's
here.
Force of Will here to the bottom.
Yeah, and there's no main deck ways to efficiently deal with a bunch of tokens, and I doubt any were boarded in potentially. So Bernal's going to need a bunch of damage this turn. I think we're looking at 7 at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we can see here with the amount of Pyroblast that both players have had access to, and my anecdote about splashing it in my green-white deck, I think this Mentor strategy, I can see the appeal of this Monastery Mentor strategy as a threat that doesn't expose yourself to that card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in for 7. I believe a Brainstorm was drawn for Zach Allen Alpha the Ponder. He chooses not to cast it just in order to pump 2 extra damage.
Probably holding it for the second Mentor.
Sure. Second iteration for Bernal. Let's see if this one resolves. It does.
Good.
Okay. Counter magic is great and everything when you're even, or even ahead on the board, but that is not the reality here for Joe Bernal. So.
Is it possible that he dies next turn?
Yes, I would say it probably is. Steam Vents doesn't help. Force of Will goes to hand. Steam Vents probably has to shock in if he wants to play the Unholy Heat, which I have to imagine he does. No.
No. Yeah. Yeah, he's goner.
Okay, so Zach Allen defeats Joe Bernal 2-0. Let's see if we can move on to modern Kyle Boggemes and Will Krueger. We didn't see any of them yet. See
Interesting
how things
matchup.
go over.
Hammer and Shadow.
Well, the dot just changed and gave Will Krueger a second win. So either that was added to the wrong column, or Will Krueger just took out his match, and the match is actually tied at one format apiece. We'll give it a second that's sorted out and see where we end up next. Okay, so it is apparently one match each, and we're back to limited. We see Matt Hoey deploying the 1/3 vampire. I believe that can flip if you sacrifice a couple blood, one of which he has in play. Also the 1/4 that gains life, gluttonous guest, gain a life when you activate a blood token, and a skeleton.
Oh, and you see the Witch's Web, I believe. Protecting something there from a removal spell. Edgar
Right.
Markov looks like it was dealt with as well. That's probably Hoey's most powerful card. Not sure how a red-green deck was able to do that, but here we are. All right. Well, Raja has two, I'll say large creatures, but
Yeah,
no spells in hand.
Hookhand Mariner is a 4/4. Passes is going to turn into a 6/4 that can't get blocked by creatures with power 2 or less.
The majority of Hoey's creatures.
And the Web Weaver. So a 3/4 and a 6/4 are now much bigger than Matt Hoey's board, although Hoey with plenty of cards to work with. That is the 3/3
Blood-crazed Sociolite.
Good job. I know there's all these 4-mana black uncommons. They're all 3/3s or commons. I'm sorry. Comes to play, get a blood, and that's
a lot of menace, a lot of 3/3, a lot of 4.
Is it menace? And when it attacks, you can sacrifice a blood. You have +2/+2.
Correct.
So there is the 1/3 Bloodkeeper can now flip by sacrificing the 2 blood if Matt chooses to do so. Although that card is not, I would say, particularly impressive.
Going to offer the trade of the Hook Hand versus 2 creatures here. Hoey can also trade a card for 6 life by using his Fleeting Spirit. Might be something he's considering when he's up on resources like this. No, but he's going to trade 6 life for. He's going to do the other side of the trade and just take 6. Raja did draw a spell, although it's not a very impactful one. It's just that Mana Rock. Might be able to flip it though.
All right, all kinds of trading going on this time around.
Oh no, okay, well. We saw another one of Matthew Hoey's rares. I believe it's sacrifice any number, choose a number, and then each player sacrifices that number of creatures. It's by invitation only. And being ahead on resources like that, was able to capitalize. And now just one of Raja's 2-drops is not going to be able to hold down the fort, I don't think, against this menace creature and this flyer.
Yeah, 2/2. It's 2/4 on your own turn, but 2/2 here, the little wolf on defense is not going to amount to much.
Cashing in the blood. Does not have the need to filter cards, can just flip it. The Restless Bloodseeker.
Yeah, I just came up with myself. Yeah.
Reveler.
So it's a 3. So we're in for 6 here, I believe. And Raja's little wolf is.
He's basically got to come up with a creature and a removal spell, and he's not. Probably does not have a lot of time. Yeah, can't block. Might as well get in there. Oh well, a 7-drop should be able to.
Is that the Bramble Worm that gain 5?
I don't know a lot of other 7-drops that people would.
Bramble Worm is.
Reach is pretty good here, although the menace creature is still going to be able to get through. Oh, and well.
And there it is, a 6 mana
Paying the full
Herculean
cost rather
with
than...
a full price. I mean, why not? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what's for, the cleave effect.
He can cash it in from his graveyard for some more life, but
yeah,
he's still going to be behind on board. Okay. We're filtering the blood immediately. I believe he should have a second blood token, right? Or no, that's not the 4. That's not the 4-drop. Take 2 blood now.
No, it is. The Falcon Wrath. Yeah, it gives you 2 blood, so there's probably off screen, but there is another one over there. That's a 4/4 menace.
Okay, the ground is now locked up. Just need to figure out a solution to this air problem. It has an activated ability as well to drain for 2, I believe.
Mm-hmm. For 5 mana, yeah.
Might be a worthwhile use of his mana. I'm not sure if the spells... Oh, and he's coming in, though. Oh, and he can make it a 5/5, so he can offer the trade for... Yeah. And I think this is a block that you're not happy to make, but you... Okay, it's going to work out for him, but that's just always a scary spot to be in, where you're forced to double block a menace creature, but... If they do have removal, you get blown out, but he's not really in a position to play around it.
No, the worm gets picked out of the graveyard.
5 lives down the drain here.
Yeah, and that means that one activation
blood
could be enough.
Being cashed in. One last card is another land, and that's the match.
All right, so
Hoey's deck looking very impressive here with Edgar Markov and by invitation only, both being used there.
All right, so that's it. Bernal, Hoey, and Krueger advanced to 2-0. Sulaiman, Boggemes, and Zach Allen dropped to 1-1. And I demonstrate conclusively that I don't know the card names of this new set very well, but apologize for that.
We were able to figure out what the what was important on that board state, though.
Absolutely. Anyway, that is going to conclude round 2 for us here. Surveilling the room. Looks like there's still a decent amount of matches playing, so we'll see if we can find some content for you around. Either we'll be back in a few minutes. Stick around. This is Nerd Rage Gaming.